So welcome everybody. This is exciting. We're talking about building a top performing sales team. And we're going to look at this from our perspective of our sales managers and from our enablement teams. So we're going to be all over the place. And I'm really excited to be doing this jointly between Factor 8, my company, and Allego. And we're joined by Devyn Blume from Allego, who's not just understanding what tons of companies are doing in the enablement space, thanks to their gorgeous tool, but a seller herself. And she's going to share some of her perspective. So I know that you've been there about 8 years. You're a consultative seller. You do relationship management, client management, and let's be honest, you're at the top of the leaderboard, right? What else do we need to know about you, then?
I mean that was a very generous intro. It's great to meet everybody. But yeah, I'm a sales rep here at Allego, so excited to share some insights from that perspective and talk more with everybody and happy to answer any questions. But the platform, I'm very lucky because the platform that we sell, I actually get to use internally. So it's an enablement platform. And I think that's a really, really key benefit.
I think that's really cool. Now, if you're from Allego and you already know what they do, but you're new to Factor 8, we're also in the enablement space and we provide the skills training that sits on systems like Allego's or on our clients' own systems. And what's cool about, listen, I know you're talking to two vendors, but here's the cool thing. We get to see hundreds of companies every year, right? When you're in corporate America, where I was for 20 years, you're in your silo. You maybe have one or two people on the outside, but we get to share all kinds of great perspectives. And that's what we'll be doing today. We definitely want your questions. Chat them in anytime or in the question panel, and Amy's going to serve them up to us at the end because I know she's had some come in via email as well. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. We do a sales shot every single month at Factor 8. They're always free. They are fast paced, super tactical, tip rich. That is what we are known for. We think theory sucks. We're not going to be talking about up here. We're going to be talking about down here. We rotate 3 topics for rep skills, managers, and enablement. And this one's a combination of both. So here's what's coming up next. If you go to factor8.com/shots, you can sign up for the next one's coming. Now, I do want to note that the one in May I have listed here is a group cohort, and that one there is a charge for. It's like a 6-week intensive coaching accelerator and certification program with a dual certification from Sales Management Association. It is badass. If you are in enablement and trying to figure out how to work more with your managers and teach them to coach, come learn from us or send your managers there. If you're a sales manager and you're one of the 80% that didn't get coaching and training, this is a great way to dip your toe in the water. All right. We're going to talk about what do top performing sales reps do? What do they need at the very beginning? We're going to talk about tools. We're going to talk about efficiencies. We're going to talk about how to move them past stage 1, but we're really focused on building that high performance team. So I know there are people here with young teams or building and scaling, and this is for you. Last warning, this is an appetizer. It's a shot, not a meal, right? So when you're sending your people here every month for the free training, yay for you, but there's things you can do to make it stick. It's time for Lauren's soapbox, ladies and gentlemen. I need like music to cue in here. Webinars, videos, it doesn't stick. It's not training, okay? So book a session afterwards where you share best practices, where you role play, take advantage of discounts to get the training. Use this as information, but don't let it substitute for good training. Soapbox over. Are you ready, Devyn?
I'm ready.
All right. If you've just joined us, warm up your chat fingers because we love to do polls and ask questions throughout. And the first question is, what city are you in?
And Lauren, are you sharing your screen?
Oh, honey, thank you for that. You're so right.
Just making sure I'm not missing
I'm
anything
a professional. I do this all the
I
time.
am not the webinar
Right?
pro.
I'm looking at it. Why aren't you guys looking at it? That is sad. All right. So we're launching our poll first while Lauren gets her crap together over here. And now get our slides up in the meantime. All right, cool. So poll number 1, what are the top sales qualities in a top seller? You can click more than one. And what you see in the background are our upcoming sales shots, which were really hard to see when I wasn't sharing screen. All right. I love it. These are coming in fast. This is good. We're going to start on our first shot while the voting continues and talk about getting started. And Devyn, I really want to lean on your expertise for this area, right? Because you've been that new sales rep. We're looking at top qualities. I'm going to end the poll in a second. Why don't you tell us in your words, what was the hardest part?
Yeah, I think I think just first, it's on the screen here, but first of all, it's just getting that confidence. So starting out, it's super intimidating, right? You don't know the lingo of your products just yet, let alone the people that you're talking to and your customers, just feeling unsure, overall uneasy. And then when I started, it really wasn't in a remote world. I was in an office setting. So even just hitting the phones and feeling confident in front of my peers was something that definitely took some time. So I think that once I started building that up, it was a game changer. I think the finding the right people too. So being able to use your tools, Sales Navigator, Zoom Info, whatever it is, to actually target the right people. You know, it's hard enough to get them to engage, but just finding them
Yeah.
and
Well,
who
and then
actually
getting them to
wants to
engage with
talk.
you is also, yeah, it's like this
Right, that's a
double-edged
whole
sword.
other.
We don't get to sell unless we can get on first base, right?
Exactly. So knowing who you're looking for, finding them, and then getting them to actually talk to you. And then once they do talk to you, actually delivering value and listening, not just pitching, and trying to relate to their actual, business needs. And I mean,
Mhm.
along with that, knowing when to walk away, if it's not something that's gonna
Qualifying.
gonna fit.
Yeah. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. I have to tell you, I hear that all the time. So before I jump into what we hear from customers, let's take a look at the poll. Discovery questions win. Look at that. 90% are saying, yeah, that's key. And I mean, I couldn't agree more. I think it's interesting that business acumen, I find it coming down in our newer generation of sellers. So when I get calls from sales leaders, thank you everybody for your votes. This is fantastic. When I get calls from sales leaders, the first thing I hear about is phone confidence, right? It's we're nervous to dial out and pick up the phone. And then we hear about business acumen and industry acumen and the phone selling basics. So we did a poll last year about what are your overall challenges with virtual sales. And look at that, Devyn, you're number one about finding and connecting 40%. Like, how do
Wow.
I prospect and how do I find the people? Right? That's
Right.
difficult. And then number two on that, time management, making time for those calls. If you go too much research, guess what? You're not doing the calls, but how do we find the people? So there is the dilemma. We dug even more into virtual sales challenges and look at this engaging people, telling stories, finding this is all about value, right? Questions, pain points, and stories. And on this second one, the finding the people again, 49% knowing who's involved in the process. So good news, Devyn, you're
Wow.
normal, right? That's a good thing. Amy,
I love it.
thank you so much. She chatted it. If you want to see the rest of the study, go for it. You can get it for free in the link. All right, so let's dig into confidence a little bit. Shot number two, you can do it. How do we build confidence? That's a tough one because I think it's everything. You hear confidence on phones, right? You hear when there's not confidence on phones. It's a sport, it's a confidence sport. When we don't have the confidence, we don't make the calls, we don't push past the brush offs and the objections, right? We hide behind email. That's rough. So, all of these things in our poll are things that are limiting sellers, right? Some of these crush confidence. What do you think is the number one most critical thing that's stopping sellers from reaching their potential? What's happening in your office? So we'll let you vote on that. But let's talk, Devyn, how you personally and your company, how you see people building confidence.
Yeah, I mean, it's everything that's on the screen here. I would say the first thing, if you're not recording your calls in some way, shape, or form, I think that is just so critical. Will say firsthand, I was one of the sellers early on that did not want my calls recorded, probably because of that confidence piece. So firsthand, no way, felt big brothery, didn't want it. Now I truly couldn't live without it. And it is the number one thing that I think is important. And like I said at the beginning, I am lucky that I get to sell an enablement platform that I actually use. And one of the cool features that we have that goes along with recording calls, it's called Show Reels.
Mhm.
So you can incorporate this, in whatever call recording tool you're using. With at Allego, I can get quick 30-second clips of a specific topic of my team, talking about that. So I can hear top
Mhm.
performers, I can hear how other people are relaying information in almost a 30-second highlight reel. So just getting that quick hit, instant,
Mhm.
how's somebody else delivering this helps me go ahead and enter into my calls,
So we
a
do it
little bit
slightly
better.
differently, but we do the same thing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
every time we're recording calls and going back and listening and coaching them. And even though you may not like that feedback yourself, if you've got a brand new team, you can use other people's recorded calls. I'm going to talk to you about the pause game in just a minute, but that's important. And then another one I've got on here is micro learning. Right? Managers, listen, people are coming out of new hire knowing less because it's the modern world, right? They're at home, they can't hear other people. Our new hire isn't as effective when we're doing it via Zoom. So they come out and they struggle. And it falls on the managers, right? They can't train the team, coach the team, release the deals, help close. So they can't do it all. So we give them tools so that when I notice Devin struggling with her opener, boom, I can push it, micro learning, right? So when you have those tools available and you equip the managers with them in the front lines, they can't wait for next quarter's training class that enablement is putting on, right? And enablement cannot solve every challenge for every manager. So giving them access to the quick push tools, I think is huge. What's the AI role plays?
So everybody's probably familiar with role play. You join a new company, or you probably have your sales team do their elevator pitch, or at least there's some version of trying to do a mock call before you actually hit the ground running and get on. You don't want to be practicing with your actual prospects. Same concept, except you can do this in a virtual environment. So there's a little bit less pressure rather than practicing with a real manager. Again, if you're new, that's going to feel a little intimidating. You can just practice yourself on camera and get some AI generated feedback for how you're doing. So then when you do go into that live role play, you feel a little bit better. Again, that's an Allego feature, but it applies across the board as a sales rep. I obviously don't like doing role plays. I don't think anybody does. I would be shocked. You can give me the seller that likes doing that. Nobody does, but it is one of the most effective things
Yeah.
that we do, because you're getting that batting cage experience
Yep.
before you potentially lose an opportunity because you couldn't deliver your message. So I think
I love it.
it's one way or another, it's critical.
I think that's really cool. So, Melissa, thanks for the question in the chat. I'm going to get with this one right now. If I miss some of it, we'll bring it back up at the end. But people are resistant. Devyn's just talking about that. How do you get them to do it? Well, the idea that they can do it themselves with an AI bot and not somebody else live is one great way. So, I think that's really cool. The second one is play calls that aren't them first in training. We never do a training where we're not playing calls, and we have a huge library of redacted other calls showing different skills. And when people hear it, it makes all the difference. And then we put it right in live training. You cannot escape. So when it's trying to get somebody to do it for the first time, you let them pick the call. That's the other thing, right? Let them pick their super favorite best call, and we're good to go.
I would also say lean on your early adopters, lean on the couple people that would do it.
Yeah.
And what are they going to get out of it? Like for me, it's my note taker. I don't have to take notes on my call anymore because I can go back and listen to it. And that's just a value add for the sales team. That's outside of training.
Yeah, I think that's lovely. And we're talking about how much we love Fathom in there, and that does it all. All right. So, seller potential, our poll results here. Number one, lack of basics. There we are. We're just talking about that. We're going to tell you exactly what tools people or skills people need in order in just a minute. The noise is real. That comes in at number two, which goes along with the short extension spans. I love the lack of discipline. Vote in the chat. And then that lack of peer. That's the case too. Whew, it's a lot. There's a lot working against us when we're trying to build high performance teams. So I want to share with you the pause game. Again, take any call recording that's out there, them or not them. Okay. Do this during new hire, or managers do it during huddles with your new hires. This is my number one hack to cut ramp time. And just for a teeny tiny bit of credibility, my job at IBM and SAP globally was cutting ramp time. We got them to quota twice as fast by enacting some of these tips that I'm going to show you. Okay. The pause game, take any recorded call. You're going to pause it about every 10 seconds, and you're going to ask two questions. Question number one: what do you think the customer's thinking right now? That's huge. All right. Getting into the mindset of the customer gets us out of our very noisy, very nervous brain and helps us focus more, ask more questions, get into their shoes, be a better value, service, and consultant. Number two, what would you do next? What would you do next builds active recall. Now, I'm going to nerd out for a second. The reason I always preach that videos don't teach, right? It's like, did anybody used to do flashcards when they were young? When you recall something from your brain, it is 5 times more effective at helping you remember it than if you reread it. So watch versus do. Now, my theory about how people are learning and why ramp is real and it takes months and months for people to hit quota, it's less about what they know and more about when do I use it. And so when you're listening to recorded calls and asking yourself, what would I do next? You're like, oh, this is when I grab the file folder for my questions. Oh, this is when I grab the file folder for my sales technique, for my product. And the brain, the neural pathways literally move from a trail, right? A deer trail to a paved highway the more often you recall. And why do you care about that? Well, a paved highway gets the information out faster and better every time, and that shortens your ramp time. So steal the tip, play the pause game. It's scientifically proven to help people get the information out of their brains faster and applied in a customer focused point of view. So I hope that was helpful. I'll take questions on that at the end. Oh, and then these are the tools we're talking about. So we give them tools, steal this idea, folks. Grab assessment forms, right? So like call grading that help identify where people are struggling. So we have one for prospecting, one for discovery, one for a whole sales process. And then boom, when they're not scoring well in this, the class is on the right-hand side. Push the class, right? They jump into the sales bar, they jump into Allego, and boom, they assign a video, an e-learning of whatever the case may be, and it's right there. Then make it fast and easy for your managers to follow up by giving them the coaching tools to keep it alive. When a manager has to figure out what reps need, build the learning, and coach it, let me tell you, it doesn't happen. It's too much. All right. Oh, yeah. I have to tell you about this. This is my bonus chaser. It's called Coach the Coach. So I've been training sales teams for 30 years, right? And the biggest issue, my beloved sales managers on this call, is you. Enablement, you can high five me later. It's frustrating. We know why. It's because it's the busiest job in the world. I run 3 businesses right now, and my couple years in sales management was harder than this. All right. It is. It's a tough gig. However, it's so critical that you get involved in your team's development, but you're not always sure when and how. So, enablement leaders, I built the class of everything you've ever wanted to say to the sales managers while you shake them by the shoulders to ask them to partner with you, but you're not allowed to do because, again, HR. So we have this class available, and I think that we're giving out a free class, and I recommend you come and use this with your teams. All right, moving on. Shot number 3. Let's start at the beginning. What are the critical skills? We talked about missing basic sales skills. Well, we do this all day long with brand new sellers, and here's the 5 classes we teach first. It is part of a new hire curriculum, okay? New hire is going to have your product, your processes, your business and customer acumen, your systems, and sales skills. This is missing too often. This is one thing you actually can outsource. However, our mistake is trying to teach everybody everything in new hire. It's the fire hose, right, Devyn?
Yeah, 100%. Forget
And
it's
so
out the door. The second onboarding's over.
it literally cannot work, right? It's like going to the gym once and expecting to walk out buff.
Which we
It's just
wish.
not gonna happen. Yeah, right? And my kids just got me a dish towel that says, I wish I could drop my body off at the gym and then pick it up when it's done. I like a dirty dish towel. Anyway, so what we do at Factor 8, we call it just-in-time training. And the idea is in new hire, train them for their first month on the job. They're not going to have to configure a quote. They're not going to have to return an order. They're not going to get into a pricing battle and have to overcome the competition. Their entire day is leaving voicemails for people and getting them, right? Like, oh crap, someone answered the phone. Help them keep that person on the phone. Teach them how to find the people. When somebody says, "Who the hell are you with?" Help them with the value prop. Capturing contacts is what you were talking about, Devin. How do I find people? Right?
Yeah.
How do I and get a hold of them and get them to engage with me? That's what this is.
But
It
all
is
of this is also about that confidence building too, which is super critical because I don't need to know how to create a quote on day one, but if I have that confidence in some of the stuff I am doing, I mean that's going to decrease that ramp time, just that in itself. So
girl,
I
you
love
nailed
this.
it. You nailed it. When we try to teach them the whole job in their first 3 weeks, we scare them. They are better off not knowing what they don't know because you know what? They walk out feeling like badasses. You just teach them this part, build up the role play and the confidence doing it, and set them free. And what's really cool, my enablement friends, is that in 2 to 3 weeks, maybe even 2 to 3 months, they're going to come back and be like, I need to know more stuff. And you're like, oh, I'm so glad you're here and paying attention. So that's the key. What does their first month on the job look like? When we can get these little wins, if this is all we're training them and they come back and be like, 10 people called me back this week, that's a win you can celebrate. And we need those to build. What's the magic word, Devin?
Confidence.
Oh, we did it. What a good team we are. All right, we got this. All right, let's move on to shot number 4. Our favorite tools, right? If you're just now building a team, what do you think is critical? So I'm starting with don't make them go find all their own leads. All right. It's just not efficient and it burns people out. So if you're going to invest in something, get them lists and get them data, right? And then find them ways to enrich that. Devin, your favorites are sales.
Um, Sales Navigator and Zoom Info. My tip would be find the people, not the companies. If somebody has, like, we target enablement professionals here at Allego. If a company has somebody working in enablement that I can filter on Sales Navigator, chances are their company cares about enablement.
There you go.
So that find that instead of the account. So that's definitely key.
Yep. And you need something to enrich the data. Now, be careful because new reps will spend 20 minutes researching every single contact using these tools, which is why we teach how to do it live on the phone. And so you want to be able to balance that. We've talked about just in time training, but that's also in the tools, right? Some of these things like the AI coach, the pushing out of the micro learning, the show reels and the call recordings and those libraries all build confidence. Um, my next one is timed CRM. You guys, I'm not kidding. People are good with systems, but they need to learn to multitask and move fast. So in new hire, we like to do synthesis sessions where we're listening to a live recorded call and they're in the dummy system and they've got to get all that entered and they have a set amount of time. Turn up the heat, right? Turn on the clock and help them learn to multitask with their tools and work fast in them because again, that's going to speed your ramp time. What's a digital sales room, Devin? This is one of your favorite tools.
This is one of my favorites. So digital sales room, it's like a microsite for your prospects and customers. So essentially you can put, instead of sending off emails with links to attachments that they're going to have to sift through, you send one link that has all your materials in it. And what this does is it's a give for your sales team. They get to see when people are viewing the content that they're sending. They can put a mutual action plan in there to keep their sales process organized. It just makes the whole sales process more efficient. And this one's kind of about enabling your buyers, I guess, more so than even enabling your sales reps. But it's a give. It's a give for the team.
Well, it's a value, like struggling to add value is real, but
Right.
also finding this shit is real. Like, you know what I
Right.
mean? When you're new, like I've got a new salesperson right now and I'm getting 10 slacks a day. Where do I find that? And so that's a big deal. And then of
Well,
course we've
even
already
using
talked.
them for new hires, we have companies that leverage digital sales rooms. Like here's all the resources you need right before you get started, and it's all in one spot. So
So Amy
it's
just
great
dropped
use
it.
case.
She just dropped one of ours. So we put together a joint digital sales room with all the different resources that we have available for
Perfect.
this group. And you can hit that link and see it. So this is the AI sales coach that we talked about. And what I think this is neat for building confidence at the beginning is I don't have to do it with my manager and I don't have to do it with a peer. I'm literally just doing it with a bot. Right. And what's the scoring that's up there, Devin?
So this can be, you can program the AI, I guess, in this case, to score your role play session with whatever skills, methodology, competencies that you care about at your organization. So it still feels very personalized and customized, but it is taking a lot of that time back from managers.
Okay, so I have to tell you that's my favorite thing about it, the customized scoring. Because I've done this with other people that have tools out there, and it's like, oh, try to break into this, this account. And the feedback I get, like, who decided that feedback, right? I'm a
Right.
little picky about that, being a trainer myself. And I have to tell you, I also see this as a problem when we're trying to scale. We work with the frontline managers and watch them coach their reps, and every single rep is getting a different message. So if you want
Such a
to
good point.
move up quickly, being able to customize what's important and having them get the real feedback, not through the filter of the inexperienced coach, but right from the top and what good looks like, I think that's key.
And it's objective.
Bingo, right? Bingo. I think that's cool. And you can mess up as much as you want in front of a bot and still feel superior. I yell at Alexa all day long. Now she's going to go off in the background, be like, I'll add that to your shopping. All right. So we're talking about a partnership next. So, right, we have people from both worlds here, and we both have a couple tips on how can we partner better to scale faster. So, Devyn, you go first.
Yeah, so I mean, this is honestly, this is why I love you guys. This is why I love Factor 8, because the two things that I care most about really are training that is based on outcomes. I want to know what people are doing that's working
Yeah,
and how can I do that too. I don't
yeah.
want to just train on something that's going to have me check the box and move on. So you guys, I love that that's what you guys do. That's why I love it, because I
Tactical.
can
Yeah,
it exactly. I know that it's based on outcomes, and then it's the techniques that are actually going to help me sell more, help me, do better at my job, have more confidence, make more money.
basic sales
Ultimately,
skills.
right. And it's what are the best people doing? So it's not just, and what's going to move the needle, not just
I
checking
like
a
that.
box.
Yeah, I like that. And we're going to show people a way to do that again at the end. Here's my other tips, right? If you're just getting started, involve managers in new hire training. They need to be the final grader of a role play, real life. And if your training isn't getting them able to role play, then we need to look at what you're training in new hire. You also want to have them meet and get involved with their reps on day one. And then you want to bring them a mentor on day two. These are ways to partner together. Also, this is key, right? If you don't have an enablement department that helps you in sales, my sales leaders, reposition a headcount to be that person for you. Look for a B rep, not an A rep, because they can't teach it, and then help them with tools and budget to do it. If you have the departments and you're just not playing well together, you need a liaison where they go to each other's meetings once a month. Okay, this is key. When I was in charge of enablement in corporate America, I couldn't get them to train my salespeople because they were busy with all the other things that are happening for enablement. And so we moved a section of training out of HR and into and under sales, which most people have today in sales enablement. So I like thinking I was ahead of my time. Here's another free resource for you. If you're struggling to partner with your sales leaders, hey, enablement leaders, here are 10 tips and things that people want to see. It's literally going to help you translate into their language. Sales leaders struggling with the enablement team, there's your cheat sheet too. So we're all about helping. All right. When we talk about just in time training, I need to speed up a little bit. What do you do next? So I'm just going to tell you, these are the next classes we typically teach when they come back in month two, right? Getting them some of the acumen, discover. We all said that that's the number one skill, and it is the worst skill that I have seen across tens of thousands of sellers in the last few years. Qualifying is different. What you talked about, learning what it's worth to you, right? We'll put 3 hours into a lead and then find out. Bridging makes all the difference. It helps keep deals alive in the pipeline, engaging customers, and fast access to content. Those are the digital sales rooms we talked about. They're having conversations at this point. We need to enable them with all of the tools that they need along the way. All right, we're going to talk about how do you retain the top talent next. So you go first, please, with your 3 tips on the right.
Yeah, so I think from a sales rep perspective, I would say the number one thing is win stories. So I want to know that, first of all, if I'm new, that people are actually successful at my company and that customers are successful with my product. I want to, again, going back to confidence, I want to know that there are people out there that they're winning. I want to know how they're winning. I want to know what they're doing. So sharing and capturing those win stories is so huge. When I first joined, I had to listen to a playlist of just quick win stories from my peers explaining how they want to deal, who they were up against. And
Love
that
that.
was so valuable. And it's the same with best practices. I would say that's number two. Really, not even just I want to be enabled to succeed. So now that we have the wins, I know that they're happening. I know customers are successful. How do I do that?
Mhm.
So I'm thinking back to when I first started, having those best practices, knowing what people are doing, being able to capture and have insights from not just an enablement person, but from others in the organization too, subject matter experts, product,
Yes.
peers,
Yes. And this
leaders,
is a
whoever
picture
that
of where
is.
you do it, right? This is the win room where you're getting the
Yes,
peer learning. By the way, I love also having a loss room. If you want to create a learning culture, get people comfortable sharing their F ups, right? And you as leaders dump them in there as well. So then it's okay to not be perfect. That's how you get everybody invested in getting better. My
totally.
tip,
Wasn't going to mention that, but we do have to share the lost stories too. Not
we
as
do.
fun, but we do. They're
Yeah.
important.
They'll get binged. Let me tell you, we do that in Girls Club all the time. My tip was about building career paths. So I'm just going to show you in this bonus chaser. Here's where we go to level three, right? Level two and then level three. You want a path for BDR to AE. You want a path for both of them into manager. Okay. Get that learning queued up because it's so important to this generation. All right. So you can steal that. You guys are going to get the slides and the recording. If you want to see what those subjects are, you can get course descriptions online. When I first started in sales enablement, I was like, I don't know what to train. I'm going to build it myself, but what should I build? Feel free to cheat off us. All right. Efficiency tips. We got to go fast on this. Top two here, Devyn.
Top two, reduce the tech stack. The amount of tools that the sales team has to go to, that's just reducing their productivity. So
You
consolidate
better
it,
believe it.
consolidate your LMS, your CMS, your conversation intelligence tool, get that all in one. And it'll make everybody more productive.
Oh my God, yes. I mean, we are done with the era of tools. It's too many. The average rep has between 7 and 10. They use none of them efficiently. And we spend about 10x on tools than we do on skills. And guess what? People are saying that skills are the problem. So, hello. Um, you can see what some of these other ones are. I love content engagement notifications. I wish I had that. People are interacting with your content right now. Call them. I think that's really cool. For
Super cool.
managers, I want to focus on you for a minute for my frontline sales leaders. Make sure you got a trend line dashboard. And what's on the front screen naturally of your Salesforce is not a trend line dashboard, right? So that you can see who needs help where. And if you don't have it already, get training for your managers because it's extremely inefficient with them in there trying to individually coach every single one. And this is what they all say to me, right? They're new, they have teams of new people, and I can't get them to do what I tell them to do. And this is why. Folks, 90% of what you tell people to do is forgotten by the end of the week. If you want to have it retained, you have to do better learning up front and you have to teach your managers how to coach. Seriously, enablement. If you feel like you are putting out every single fire, then you're not engaging your managers on how to managers. If you feel like you're putting out every single fire, we need to get more efficient. So it starts with understanding what coaching really is. We're talking about skill coaching. We're talking about feedback, not being a great leader. Reviewing people's numbers in a momentary one-on-one each month, that's not coaching. So if you want to help your managers get more efficient, here's the certification I told you about up front. We only do a cohort where it's like you can send 1 to 5 people every couple of years. So this is kind of a BFD, and we pull managers days apart. We help them find more time, get more efficient with the coaching, and then better at the coaching. You will see team numbers rise almost immediately. It's crazy effective. If you're trying to get your managers engaged or you're a new manager yourself, having insights help. And we wrote a really fun quiz. So Amy's going to drop that. Thank you for that. This is super fun. What kind of manager are you? So find out your type and what your superpowers are so you can leverage them. And we'll also send you some tips on helping you pull some of the gaps together. All right. So we've got, I'm going to skip this. I'm going to skip this. I want to get to questions so that we can answer them for people. In the meantime, you can find our resources from today, some of the things we just skipped through in Allego Sales Room. So grab that QR code. Amy, let's go to questions that we've got or type them. We're going to take the first ones from Amy in chat and then feel free to type some of yours as well. Oh, here we go. Are there any best practices around how to share customer stories with your sales team that they can effectively use to tell stories on their calls? Love this question. Devin, do you want to take it first?
Yeah. So at Allego, as part of our product, we have what we call a shortcut feature where you can capture if you win a deal, I might get assigned a task that says, "Hey, record your win story."
Oh, I love
And
that.
enablement gives me some tips on how to do it. Keep it 2 minutes, but you can really do that with anything. I've seen customers, people do it with Teams, Zoom, just a quick video on their phone. So then it turns into that bite-sized content that right before you get onto a call, you can reference.
Yeah. All right. So we do that from a skills point of view. I love this, right? So skills and tools together. We've got a great class on it, right? How to tell stories. And what we do is help them collect their stories, and we help turn case studies and testimonials into stories and teach them how to make that engaging. Makes all the difference. But they walk away with 3 or 4 key stories that they've practiced telling and selling so that it becomes their story and it becomes second nature. Next question. Is it possible to record in person sales calls? Most of our salespeople are doing in person meetings. Oh, embrace the virtual. I mean, do you have any advice on that? I, it's a
I
toughie.
would say so if they're doing in-person meetings, they're most likely doing some sort of like ride along, or you might have a coach or somebody out in the field with them. So just kind of capturing that or having another person there to kind of capture what went on, whether it's from a note-taking or a coaching perspective. I work with a lot of folks that are in like medical device space, and they're out in the field, they're in hospitals, and that's something that they do. They'll capture it that way.
Yeah, it is big in med devices. I mean, we have to be careful because about like one party, two party states, usually our technology is taking care of that for us and not recording where it's not legal. Um, my suggestion, although brand new at answering this question, is one of two things. The first is, hey, is it okay if I turn my voice notes on my cell phone? I'm just going to leave it right in my pocket or here, but that way I don't miss anything. Or we've all been talking about how great the AI tools are, right? You said, hey, I've opened up a meeting on my laptop and I've added Fathom to it so that we can both get a summary of this meeting. It's just going to sit in the background. Is that going to be okay? So you can like have it right there and have that recorded. Again, we're getting more transcripts and voices than people. I think having a camera watch and like you holding up your phone while you're talking to somebody would be a little awkward, but worth a shot. It's worth a shot. All right. The third one I'm going to tell you is mock up the role plays, right? Bring people in, like maybe during an SKO, give them scenarios, do some training, and then capture 15 recorded mock role plays that at least you can use for the new hires and some of their
Totally.
game tape. All right, we got there. Next question. We have so many sales tools. What tools does Allego replace, Devin? I was asking you this before we went on.
Yeah, that's funny. So Allego, it's a holistic enablement platform. So your learning management system, your content management system, and your conversation intelligence tool. So all three looped into one. That's the biggest trend we're seeing is consolidation.
I like that. I like
Yeah.
that, content and LMS were always separate, but we need to learn how to use our content, and content also helps us learn.
Well,
So,
right. What you guys, I mean, the just in time piece of it, that is training, that is learning, like exactly what
got
you
it.
guys are saying. It's
Got it.
all the same.
I've been looking for a tool that would combine the CI and the learning for a really long time because they have to be intertwined. When a manager's listening to a call and figuring out where our deficits are, I want it right there. Hey, push the learning.
Totally.
Remember, we talked about manager push tools. So I'm always
Right.
doing that manually with my current learning management system. So
Automated. Yeah, totally
yeah, Devin was
automated.
giving me pricing before we started. Next question. What do small teams and companies do for training when they can't afford to bring in a vendor? Right? It's so tough. We find that a
That
lot
is
of
tough.
people don't even hire an enablement person until they're at 50 to 100 reps. Focus on 50, not 100. You should also know, folks, that when you bring in a trainer at 50 to 100 reps, it's going to take them a long time to build what needs to be built for training. They don't come in and have a new hire training program in their back pocket. You need somebody at manager to director level, and it's going to take them 6 months to build something decent and a year to build something fabulous. And then guess what? They're so busy doing it, they don't have time to build it. You'll find that once you hire one, you actually need three. So that is why you try to outsource a little bit where you can. You can't outsource your product training. You can't outsource your process training. You can your systems and your sales. So what do they do when they can't afford? They go out and find free stuff like this or some places that can do service for smaller teams, which is, by the way, why we put all our stuff on the sales bar. So we use the same training we use with Fortune 100 companies is available for 1 to 12 users and managers in 6-packs, right? And 12-packs on the sales bar. So you go find a solution like that, and then you coach your managers on how to be better coaches, and you build self-service scavenger hunts, to-do lists, checklists, right? You enable the people to onboard themselves and then teach people in mass how to interact with them, which are primarily your managers at the beginning. It's tough, right? Go fight for a budget is what you do. I missed one. When do most companies bring training in from the outside? This is great. This is my everyday. One, after they put in a call recording tool and they hear how bad the calls are. That's number one. Two, when they've hired an enablement person 2 years ago and realized they can't get to everybody. Three, when they scale, it's time to grow. We've proven this thing works and it's time to bring somebody in. Four, you see some companies who just do something every year. And that's the best. Too often training happens with a budget surplus at the end of the year. And it's something we did. And enablement and training needs to be something you do ongoing all the time.
After you roll out a methodology, reinforcing that. Yeah.
Kate Chico, how do you recommend using successful in-person meetings to train? We don't record our in-person conversations with our clients. I think that's what we just answered, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we got that one.
In-person meetings for training. Yeah, role play them and then get them in your show reels for sure. In person. There's one more down here. Common today. Yeah, it's tough. NDAs before anything of substance gets discussed. How do you recommend using past successes to train with those limitations? You just replace SAP with large global software company. Okay. But
Yeah.
then you make it sound more personal with some of those little touches you add to the story. Right. So instead of saying, well, last month we implemented blah, 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 blah for a large global software company, because it makes you sound a little more stilted. So instead, oh my God, you're totally reminding me of Joe. Joe worked at one of the top 5 software companies in the world. I'm not allowed to say their name, but he was totally in your situation because this had just happened and this had just happened.
I
Right.
love that. Such a
Like,
good tip.
that's what's making it a story. You can name the person. You don't have to give their title and company name. Hope that was helpful. Woo, all right, we've got a couple more down here. What's your insight to having team buy-in that you've been leading for years and looking for an increase in sales and service? So the team is long-term is what I'm getting, Shiloh. And now we're trying to get buy-in in growth. All right, we did it. Thank you for the immediate feedback. I think you're going to find that changing human performance and behavior has a lot of facets to it, right? Skills are one thing that will teach them how, but there's a whole lot of things that go into will as well. So look up human performance improvement. You're going to see expectations from leaders. Start there. You're going to see what's measured. You're going to see compensation, what's rewarded, reward and recognition, communication, tools, skills, feedback. All of those things come together. Okay. So if we want the team to double what they've been doing and everybody's pretty damn comfortable where they are, it's going to start with a great big rah-rah and a BHAG gold, right? The big, hairy ass goal. Did I do that right? Big, hairy, right? And so we get them excited about that. We put out some carrots, then we train them how to do it. We celebrate successes, and then we start to change comp systems. Guess what? You're not getting paid on these customers anymore. You're getting paid on growth. And then that helps reinforce it. All of those things are needed to make a big change.
If you're looking for sales buy-in too, I would say what's in it for them, dessert before vegetables, something that's gonna, don't have them do a role play right off the bat, but maybe give them like a digital sales room like tool that they're gonna get notifications when their customers are engaging.
I love that. Jessica, audacious. That's better than ass, isn't it? Thank you. I did that. Jessica likes big hairy ass goal. All right. We are at time. If you'd like to ask more questions, if you'd like to get time with either one of us, we're absolutely going to give it. I have a slide to share our email addresses, but it's going to be faster if we chat it in. Come. I hope you join us next month. I hope you go hit the digital sales room. Use some of these freebies that we are giving away in here. I said we were giving away a class and I did not have a slide for it. So Leona is my BDR and she will offer that to you. Anything else? Any final words, Devyn?
No, this was so fun, but it
I
was
know.
great.
It's fast, right? Tons of tips.
Yeah, so
You're going to get
fast.
the recording.
I always get nervous with these, but this was
Didn't
fun.
she nail it? Can we all just give her a little round of applause, please? And by the way, I do like 100 of these every year, and I'm the one who forgot to share screens at the beginning. So isn't she great? Thank you, ladies, for the love for Devyn. This is wonderful. Have an excellent day. We are here to help if you've got more questions. Have a good one. We'll see you next time.